Hey guys, happy Friday. Today is what is today?
Last day of school.
Yay. Okay, so we have a little bit of a surprise for you today. So if you are watching this video, make sure you comment below because I'm actually going to do a giveaway at the very end, and Layton's going to help me. He loves doing giveaways. And if this video is going to be for you moms out there or grandparents or whoever, and even adults that struggle with ADHD or ADD. So we've been doing our own little trial, haven't we?
Yes.
Yes. And if you know someone that struggles with ADHD, or if they have kids that struggle with ADHD, this is the video for you. I'm telling you, we are seeing something, and I hope I don't get emotional on this because this has been a major journey in our life, right?
Yeah.
It's been something that we've struggled with for a long time. And I actually did a interview with Layton
3 months ago?
No, we've been doing this for 2 months, and I did it like a week or two after we started this. Okay, so let's talk about what we're doing. So first off, I cannot do any medical claims or anything like that because I'm not a doctor, and you also need to consult your doctor if you're going to do something like this with your kids. If you're an adult, you'll be fine to try it. But like if you're gonna experiment with your children, I highly suggest you reaching out to your doctor. So let's get started. So let's talk about a little bit about ADHD. Most of us know what ADHD and ADD is. It's just attention deficit disorder. And what that is sometimes we just can't control our little bodies, right? Mm-hmm. And can you tell them a little bit in the beginning? Okay, so let's backpedal here some. So when Layton was in kindergarten, and he doesn't like talking about this, but that's okay because he's really smart now and he's in a good place. So when Layton was in kindergarten, we didn't really have the right teacher for us, right? Like, let me put this up here. And she was really smart, but like it wasn't the type of, teacher for Layton. And we all know what I'm talking about. So if you have struggled with a teacher, or if you have a child that has ADHD or ADD, drop what kind of fire emoji for us, a fire emoji, right? He likes the fire emoji. So the reason why, and it wasn't the teacher's fault by all means, because we know as educators, because my degree is in education, as when you have a child that's in a class that's all over the place, it's really hard for all of the other kids to concentrate. Would you say maybe you're a little bit of a distraction, maybe?
Yeah, I was a distraction, didn't learn much back in kindergarten. And then I went to kindergarten again.
So we went to kindergarten again because we thought this would be a good chance for Layton to, revamp. Okay, you want to switch sides where you can see? Okay.
I don't care.
Well, they can't see your face right there. So we repeated kindergarten for the second time. Well, the second time we had an amazing teacher. She was the perfect teacher for Layton. You remember her? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And she had, we had built a trust with her through the year, and I had talked to her about getting Layton on ADHD medicine. And, as a mom, I had tried everything. I'm talking, we did the oils, we did food changes. What else did we do?
We did a lot of stuff.
We did a lot of stuff. Like we did less time on the phone and video games and all of the things that a mom can try to do before medication. So we started medication, I think he was 7, I think.
I think I was like 6.
No, you weren't 6. You were 7.
Yeah.
So he's 11 now. So, he has been on medications from 7 to 11. Nonstop. And we have tried so many medications, haven't we?
1, 2, 4 medications.
No, we've tried more than 4. We tried a liquid form. We tried a pill form. They ran out of the liquid form that works. I mean, you guys know if you've ever struggled with this. And if you're finding value in this, please drop us some heart emojis. Is that what you want to see?
Yeah.
You want to see heart emojis? So when we were struggling with this, finding all these things, before we actually started, we did the dye-free diet. And so many of you have learned from me that we've been on dye-free since he was 7 years old. And we didn't just do it for for him, we did it for the family. Was that hard?
Yes, it was very hard.
Talk to them.
It was very hard.
Why was it so hard?
Because, like, whenever we would, like, just go places, sometimes whenever we went places, sometimes we would, like, forget the medicine, and I struggled a lot on, like, work and all that.
But the dye-free diet, did you see a difference when we were doing dye?
Yeah, I don't eat dye. My sister and brother
cheat. They cheat. So we are still dye-free. And the way that works is we go through and we look for different foods that he can eat that are dye-free. Believe it or not, Cheez-Its are dye-free. We have lots of different snacks that we have found that are dye-free. Now, I will tell you, there are so many things that are full of dye. Now, just before we get into what we're actually doing now, other than the dye-free, can you tell them how much better you feel when you don't eat the dye?
Oh, I feel less hyper, less energetic, like...
No, not less energy.
Not less
like
energetic.
Jumping around. Less
jumping
energy.
around.
Yeah. Okay. When you eat the dye, what does it make you feel like, though?
Energetic. I just want to jump around, do a lot of stuff.
Does it make you feel kind of sick now that you've taken dye out of your system?
Once I take dye out of my system, I felt kind of weird. Like, what am I supposed to eat now? Because a lot of things in the world are made out of dye.
Yeah, it is really hard as a kid to go. So, like, if you are a parent that you don't struggle with this, keep these things in mind when you take snacks to school, because I will tell you that's probably one of the hardest things for Layton, is because we are dye-free, not for allergy purposes or anything like that. It's hard for him to go to school and see all of his friends get all of these treats, and then he chooses not to take them because they don't make him feel very good, right? And he's actually really good. He'll tell his teacher, he's like, I can't have that today. And they'll find something else for him. So, like, if you are a parent and you're taking treats to school, try to keep the other kids in mind that have allergies to dye or other foods, right? Mm-hmm. So, one way that we found that the dye was actually, the dye-free food was actually working for him, we had been off dye for about 3 months solid, which, let me tell you, is very difficult. I've talked about this on lives before. But we actually went to a birthday party, and the child's birthday party, they're actually dye-free also, okay? But like any mom, you want to make your kids happy on their birthday. So you let them cheat, okay? So this mom was like, she was very prepared. She came up to me at the beginning of the birthday party, and she was like, okay, I want to let you know we have dye, but we have no dye choices or whatever. But what kid doesn't want to eat M&Ms at a birthday party? Not energy drinks. What did they have? They had like Gatorades and stuff like that. So I said to Layton and all of the kids, you may choose some dye to eat. You can choose one cupcake and one like candy with dye and one dye drink. Okay. So, of course, Layton ate 5 or 6 cupcakes that day, I'm pretty sure. And the next day, he paid for it, guys. And not because I was mad. I knew what was going to happen. But when you take dye out of your system and when you put it back in and you've been off of it, it's kind of like alcohol. Like it hits you so hard the next day, you don't feel good, right? So I remember clearly the moment that this happened. We were sitting at a restaurant And
I remember this.
Do you remember this?
Oh, yeah.
We were sitting at a restaurant and all of the kids were like this. Oh, I don't feel good. Do you remember this?
Yes.
Do you remember what restaurant it was?
Firebirds.
No, it was Champy's. Remember, we were sitting outside.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. So Todd and I looked at each other that day and we were like, oh my goodness, what in the world is wrong with them? And then it hit us. It was all the dye that they had that made them feel so bad. So like I said, if you're watching this and you know someone that struggles with ADHD or an adult or a child, please share this and get them back in touch with me, because this is going to be helpful at the very end, because get ready. You're going to get excited. So we have been on medicine at this point. Let's see. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You've almost been on it. I think you've been on it about 5 years.
5 to 6. Yeah.
5 to 6? Okay. Anyways, we've been on medication for 5 to 6 years. And at this point we had tried
4.
no dye, whatever. No dye. We didn't say math was our skill, did we? Well, it's yours.
It's mine.
It's not mine. So at this point we had tried no dye. We had tried oils. We had tried all the things. So at this point we were like, okay, it's time to do medicine. We did the medicine. We went through so many medications before we found it to work for him. And one thing that he struggled with when it came to the medicine, what would happen when we would go to the doctor? What would they tell you that you were losing?
Weight.
And what did they tell you you were going to have to do?
Take like these energy drinks. It was crazy.
Not energy drinks. They told you were going to have to take meal supplements and all kinds of things. And at one point they even talked about putting him on pills that made him gain weight. So I told him, and it was a constant thing. Like, we struggle with consistency with food with him. If he does not like it, he will chew it for hours. It's like every time we sit down to eat, it's like yelling constantly, right? So all of these things, we did all the medicine. Well, we finally found a medicine that worked. And then it got so used, and they started using it so often because it worked so well, they ran out of it. You remember the liquid stuff?
Oh, yeah.
That worked so good? Okay. With all this being said, at this point, I was putting chemicals in my child's body to help him concentrate. But were you doing better in school?
Yes.
Absolutely. So, just know I'm by all means not bashing medicine when I tell you this, okay? Because I am not that parent, and I am the parent that if I had to go back to this, I will absolutely do it. So, we have become more clean lately. This actually was not by choice, was it?
No.
No. So, like I told you, we've been on medication for years and years and years, and all of you knew